Greetings and welcome back to our Decadent playthrough, where last time we got reincarnated as a newborn in the dwindling Russian Empire. We had to grow up for a few years, we watched our sister fall into the wrong crowd, and unfortunately things happened. She's not in the family anymore. Gone away, never return. But here we are. We fell from grace, but we're in our new house. Visiting the Kerenskys here in Simbirsk. It's hard for you to find friends, yes. Ilya Petrovich takes it to heart when two respected teachers refuse the offer. Oh yeah, Mom is teaching us now. Alright, Mom is surprised. You're all going to visit someone. Father puts on his dress uniform jacket. Mom, a new dress. Leaving the house, you feel excited. Wherever you're going, it's something special. Leads to an iron two-story building with an attic and a sign on the wrought iron fence, Provincial Gymnasium. The majordomo lets you in, takes off Mom's capes, leads you to the living room. Fyodor Kerensky, the gymnasium director. His wife quickly finds common ground with your mom, the elder son Sasha. Thin and pale struggles to get up from the armchair when introduced. The younger Fyodor, lively and curious, disappears to his own affairs after a couple of minutes. After an awkward pause, he suggests taking a walk to the pond. Hey, we can at least... First childhood friend, sly, persuasive, a bit timid. Alright. Sasha walks slowly due to his limp. You hold back your irritation, but when the boy talks about his illness, you feel sympathy. Kerensky has been suffering from bone tuberculosis for a long time, and he had to walk in a heavy iron boot, which was only recently removed. You reach a pond overgrown with yellowing reeds. You suggest throwing stones into the pond, whose stone will make more jumps before sinking. Up to 3 victories. Sasha agrees. You pick up a flat, water-polished pebble, and you skillfully throw it across. He follows suit. Your stone bounces 5, his twice. Try to win again. It won't be difficult to win. Sasha is clearly weaker, but it is such a victory worth anything. We could win. Our agility is slow, but nah, we're gonna let him win. He won the round. Your next throw, and the stone gracefully sinks to the pond. Sasha wins again. Last attempt, you make a too brisk a throw and drive the stone straight, and you've lost again. You shake his hand, sincerely congratulating him, and his gaze flashes an understanding that you let him win. But that doesn't matter now. You've given him joy. You suggest continuing the game and learning new throws. The game imperceptibly flows into a sincere conversation. Sasha opens up, talking about his sister's illness and the long road to recovery. You carefully mention the move to Simbirsk and your sister. The elder Kerensky was friends with the family of Alexander Ulyanov, one of Olga's comrades, and even provided patronage to Alexander's young brother Vladimir. Words flow easily. Next to Sasha, who knew the truth and doesn't judge, the way to the secret lessons, you feel calm and at ease. Forgotten the time and just spent there talking. But suddenly 4 boys in tattered clothes appear from nearby bushes. Their whole appearance says, you and Sasha are strangers here. Too rich, pampered, different. One steps forward and starts to taunt rudely, saying you can't do anything. Neither fish nor build traps. You feel offended, want to snap back, but next to you is Sasha, who is weaker than you. You quickly glance over the bullies, then look at Sasha. You feel there's going to be a fight now. The taunts turn into threats. They start to approach, rolling up their sleeves. Noticing that Sasha is hiding behind you, you realize you shouldn't expect help from him, and the situation is dangerous. You can try to run away or fight back. We could run away, or we could fight back. Nah, we're going to fight back. Father always said to keep yourself in check, not to give in to impulses, but these insolent fellows taking a step back. The bully staggers slightly, looks puzzled, but then bursts into laughter. The laughter abruptly stops with another push. Stepping back, you realize the other two are behind you. One grabs Sasha, the other pulls you by your jacket. You resist, trying to fight back. A ripping sound. Part of your shirt remains in the bully's hands. You've pushed back and forth like a ragdoll to the bully's giggles. One push is so strong that you lose your balance and fall to the ground. It's not painful, but it's so humiliating. Your bully raises his foot. You reflexively curl into a ball, hiding your face and stomach. Enough, says the bully. Remember, we spared you. You finally gather your will and get up. There's no one around, just sobbing Sasha, who also suffered no less humiliation. Wouldn't have been so hurtful. After glaring angrily at the bullies retreating back, you help Sasha. We could plan revenge. Yes, we're gonna plan our revenge. Say that when you grow up, you become strong as your father, you'll find those bullies. Officers can punish soldiers with strict violations with sticks. Sasha looks frightened at first, but as you speak, his sadness turns into determination. By the time you approach the gymnasium, he nods with a resolute look. Yes, you're right. We need to respond to the offenders, but we'll do it when we become stronger and smarter. This is our oath. Dirty and dusty torn clothes, you slowly approach the doors of the house. How will we explain this to them? But if we tell everything as it is, our fathers will surely punish us, and they won't let them live it down. Maybe, can we say it's all because of Fadia, my brother? He often teases me and closes the door and windows out of the house so I can't get in. I'd like him to go get into trouble. He leads you to the living room. Your parents look at you. In their eyes is a question that you must answer. The truth, or will you make up a story to avoid punishment? Take the blame on yourself. Educated, he likes us a little bit more. Consequences, we get more agility. We're gonna take the blame ourselves. We're playing by the lake, throwing stones into the water. Village boys joined in, you joking about them, didn't notice how you enraged them, and they attacked in retaliation. You acted wrongly, and Sasha's not to blame at all. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. He wasn't afraid of the bullies. Your father breaks the silence first, apologizing to the Krenskys for your behavior. Fyodor Mikhailovich responds with a friendly smile, saying that children can be like that. The main thing is that you learn the lesson and don't repeat your mistakes. Then you go to dinner. Surprisingly, no one makes any remarks. Parents simply remind you the need to respect others and always tell the truth. Adult like and serious. I thought, that was wonderful. You almost told the truth, and neither of us got punished for it. It's amazing. Thank you. It was an interesting day. Seems you made a new friend. And now we are 7 or 6 years old. Parents have finally made new acquaintances, and the isolation has ceased to be so acute. You spend your days in the company of your new friend, Alexander. The news is that the director is receiving a new appointment, and the entire Kerensky family is moving to another city. You swear eternal friendship to each other before their departure, and you are left alone again. A sunny morning, on the doorsteps of the Kirsanov house stands a young man with a metropolitan diploma. Mischievous sparkles dance in his eyes. He introduces himself as Alexei and offers his services for tutoring. Mother becomes animated at the thought that her son will be able to get preparation for a real metropolitan teacher. But father frowns as he examines the guest. Tell me, why does a university teacher decide to move from the bustling capital to quiet Simbursk? Couldn't you find work in St. Petersburg? He skillfully juggles words. Mother is quickly charmed and smiles at his jokes. Alexei talks about the desire to bring the light of knowledge even to the farthest corners of the motherland. This pacifies father. All right. After all, you're still quite young and have the right to make your own mistakes. Maria, I don't mind. Let this metropolitan specialist teach our offspring. All the local respected teachers have refused us anyway. We have nothing to lose. True master of managing people. You're glad that your father agreed and you can get to know this man better. Alexei offers you to choose. In addition to regular lessons, special exercises that will help reveal your abilities and develop them. Oh, 6 cards. I would like to offer you something unusual in addition to standard lessons. Here are 6 cards. Each symbolize different directions in which you can delve. These will be very progressive classes, little known in our country, but very useful for your development. There's a catch though. We'll only have time for one direction this year. So think carefully and choose what's really interesting and important to you. Ooh. Is this another, like, choice? Ooh, okay. At least we had the Nostradamus so we can see what's up. So we chose chess, intellect, and perseverance. Football, charisma. I would like to get our charisma up. Rhetoric. Alright, actually, rhetoric might be good. Deduction. Poetry. And prestidigitation. Learn to perform magic tricks. We're gonna go with rhetoric to get our charisma and empathy up. And then maybe next time when we play the game, we'll do a prestidigitation. This is still just a demo after all. With excitement, you chose this card depicting a person behind a podium. Ah, rhetoric and oratory. You want to master the power of words. In the first lesson, he suggests telling any story. You start uncertainly, but Alexei encourages you. He teaches you to feel the audience. Remember, my boy, you always need to look your listeners in the eyes and choose words that will make their hearts beat in time with your speech. Over time, you start to have discussions on various topics. Alexei always takes the opposite position, forcing you to think and argue your thoughts. Shares his experience of how he performed in front of large audiences and how important it is to understand their moods and feelings. One fine day, Alexei suggests you speak in front of your parents. Your mother sits smiling and nodding your head while you talk about your dreams and goals. Your words are clear and sincere, and your parents applaud you at the end of your speech. Alexei, you can't imagine how grateful I am that you helped my son find his voice. I haven't felt such inspiration for quite that long time. I have no idea what voice I'm giving people, so. You and Alexei grow closer. Alexei is no longer just a teacher, he is a mentor. Alright, now we're a child of 8. The morning, along with other letters and packages, the postman brings to the thick, carefully sealed envelope Mom is indicted as the recipient. Father, setting aside freshly brewed coffee, watches attentively. At the same time, the expression on her face gradually changes. Tense attention turns to surprise, and then almost amazement. Ilya! What unexpected news! My uncle has passed away, and I know I'm the sole heir. We can finally realize my long-standing dream and build a gymnasium for the poor and underprivileged. Marussia, are you sure? We've already spent a tidy sum on repairing and furnishing our estate. Our current income leaves much to be desired. Maybe we should invest in the railway being built to Simbersk. I'm sure it'll be a profitable venture. From the barely noticeable changes in your mother's manners and your father's facial expression, you understand that they're ready for a new argument. How tired you are of this. You want to finish breakfast as quickly as possible and leave here to do homework, play, do anything. Just not listen to their arguments once again. But on the other hand, it's not every day that an inheritance falls on the family. Maybe it's worth staying and listening. Let's stay. Always so calm and reserved, looks at Father with an unexpected challenge in her eyes. Dear, don't forget that building a gymnasium was my father's dream, and I want to make it a reality. This is of special importance to me, and now I have the opportunity to do it. I can give education to local children. Not all families have the means to teach them in a gymnasium. The inheritance should be spent on this. Father, at first, is confused by her conviction. My dear, your impulse is noble, and I sincerely admire it. But don't you think that building a gymnasium can wait a bit longer? We both know that we have financial difficulties. By the time our son finishes his education, we risk going bankrupt. I was thinking of buying railway stocks with the remaining 3 funds, but your inheritance gives us a real chance. After all, the more stocks we acquire, the higher our profit will be. Isn't that right? You're glad you stayed. Parents rarely talk about their plans and dreams. Now you understand their behavior and character a little better. You need to keep listening. Ilyusha, you're worried about our son's future, and that's noble, but money isn't everything. Remember our current status. Have you heard? There was recently an assassination attempt on the heir to the throne during his visit to Japan. We could build a gymnasium and say it's in honor of his miraculous escape. Perhaps this will improve our reputation in the eyes of the heir. And for buying those stocks for us, could we allocate a small amount from the remaining 3 funds? Marussia, Small investments in stocks won't fix our financial situation. Please be rational. We can allocate from the inheritance only the amount necessary to buy the land for the future gymnasium, and the remaining funds can be obtained in the form of a grant or subsidy from the authorities. Yes, it will take more time than building with our own funds, but will improve the family budget. Waiting for my opinion. Ooh. They express interesting thoughts, but won't your support for one of them be another blow to their relationship? No less than one. Suggest a compromise. Prestige is well known. If we do this, do not interfere. Let's suggest a compromise. We'll be slightly tired, but it'll be fine. There must be ways for us to lower this fatigue. You firmly but calmly suggest dividing the inheritance equally for the gymnasium and the stocks. This way, each will fulfill their desire without quarreling. This will be a compromise, which Alexei recently told you about in class. Father takes a deep breath as if preparing to object, but you look at him with such genuine and sincere expression on your face that his sharpness evaporates. Mom, holding back laughter, adds, "Oh, Ilyusha, how can one resist such a cute facial expression? You must admit that our boy is right. What do you say?" Perhaps we really should look for compromises. This way, each of us will have the opportunity to fulfill our dreams, and no one will feel deprived. You see how her eyes sparkle when she discusses the details of the future building. Your teacher, Alexis, starts to visit you more often. After some time, you notice that Father somewhat disapproves of these visits. He even starts to appear at their meetings. However, everything goes smoothly. The world has changed. You ask Father about how things are going with the stocks. Everything is fine. If things go as he assumes, the family will see a good profit. There's a slight note of regret in his words. For the first time in a long while, you see that your family dinners become warmer and calmer. You're glad that you contributed to the harmony in the family. The compromise helped avoid quarrels and strengthen your relationships. The construction of the building is complete. Interior renovation is in full swing. Mom decides that she will teach at the gymnasium from autumn, and for now, to not waste time, she organizes private lessons for children. Alexei jokes that she has a competitor. Father doesn't approve of Mom's decision, but doesn't speak against it either. Alright. It's snowing! You jump up and look out the window with such delight at the whitened yard. The amazing view pulls you outside. You quickly have breakfast, ask to go for a walk, and quietly slip out the gate, onto the streets of Simbursk. The main thing is that the other children don't find it. They'll break everything. Last year you didn't have time to build, but this year you'll definitely manage. The scene in the alley sharply changes your mood. Two bullies are throwing a bag that a girl in a shabby coat is trying to take back. She shouts, "Stop it!" But the guys laugh and throw the bag onto a tree, trying to reach the item. The bullies leisurely walk away pleased with their prank. You can intervene, but what is the best way to act? You can stand up for the girl. We'll be seriously tired. Teach the bullies a lesson. As much as I want to get our charisma up, I don't know about the fatigue. Let's teach the bullies a lesson. You whistle quietly, calling the dog. It's good that you always take him with you for a walk. Max runs up. You could barely audible give the command attack pointed at the party bullies. You yourself go to the tree. The dog rushes like a bullet at one of the boys and knocks him down. Your fingers manage to freeze on the fifth attempt, you manage to reach the branch and carefully remove the bag. The girl is puzzled and surprised, takes the bag. The dog runs up to her, sniffs her. The girl gets a little scared, but then reaches out and pets him between the ears. Max wags his tail. You clearly made an impression. You notice that she's very cute and decide it's time to introduce yourself. You introduce yourself. The girl's eyes widen. Oh boy. You're Maria Nikolaevna's son? Wow. And I'm Sophia. Sophia Belozertsev. Oh, Russian names. I do deeply apologize. Sofia Belozertseva. I butchered that. Sorry. Study with Mom. Gallantly not offered to escort her. She shyly agrees. You notice how she quietly counts trees, houses, windows, and floors, adding them together. Interesting girl. Perhaps you suggest going to build a fortress together. Or does she have her own ideas? You could always just escort her and return home to improve your math skills. Suggest building a fortress, walk together. Oh, let's build a fortress. Why not? It's always good to have friends. The girl doubts that the fortress will withstand a siege. She suggests checking. You hide behind the tower and she tries to hit you with snowballs. At first, all the snowballs fly past, breaking against the walls of the fortress. But in the end, one hits you in the face. That becomes a signal for the beginning of the battle. You play snowballs, cheerfully laughing and rejoicing. Ask Sophia about her family and dreams. She shares with you her love for mathematics and complains that her parents are against her education. She wants to be educated. Good for her. I would like to become a scientist, but it's not that simple. Father said he won't give me money for my education. You encourage her and convince her not to give up, no matter what. And you promise to ask your mom to take Sophia to the new gymnasium as early as next autumn. You hear this word again in your dreams. Some part of your personality is bursting out. Decadent. You're trying to remember something that can't be. To remember who you were before, who you really are, and your purpose in this life. You've grown older, stronger, more resilient. You just turned 10 years old. You firmly know how you're capable of more, and you're ready for it. Parents and acquaintances also notice changes in your behavior. Mom laments that you've grown up so early, but your father stops controlling you so much. In recent months, he has been constantly secluding himself in his office, avoiding people. Alright, well, at least we've lost one fatigue. The gymnasium absorbs the energy and time of Alexei and Mom. Their late hours of meetings in the living room are filled with quiet discussions and hopes for the future. Only once did Father bother to join them, just during the discussion of the circular about the cook's children. A small Ministry of Education increased the tuition fees in gymnasiums to 50 rubles. It didn't come to a quarrel, which was always comforting. Alexei unexpectedly hands you a novel with a long, complex title. Tess of the De Urbevilles, a pure woman faithfully presented. He asks you to give the book to Mom and hurriedly leaves the house. The book looks strangely old, despite Alexei's assurance of its newness. Its binding is swollen, as if the book had been dropped in water or as if something had been inserted inside. You notice that Mom is making music in the boudoir, and Father in his office has started singing on old soldier songs, which means no one will disturb you. Thoughtfully, you turn the book in your hands, trying to understand what the secret is. Catching a thin corner of paper peeking out from the binding, you pull out a letter and eagerly read it. With each line, you become more and more amazed. This handwriting is gentleness and familiar curls. It's your sister's handwriting! The Novobelgorod Penal Central is being abolished. All convicts are being transferred to Siberia. We're stuck here, 40 versts from Simbirsk in the village of Tagay. Dirty, hungry, lousy, sick. Help us. For Sasha's sake. For all who died there. Please. You've always been kind to us. We just need a little good food, some warm clothes, and something to cauterize and bandage your wounds. You don't know how much time has passed while you stand with the letter in your hands, immersed in silent confusion. The chiming of the clock brings you back to reality. 7 in the evening. Dinner will be soon. You look at the letter again, your gaze darting from the door, then back to the letter. This is a very bad situation. The book was asked to be given to your mother, which means Father wasn't supposed to know about this letter from Olga. You know his attitude towards your sister. He will certainly be angry. What's the best way to act? Read the letter carefully. Deliver it to Mother. Show letter to Father. Yes. You need to reread it. You feel something strange in every word of the letter, something hidden, unnoticeable, but rhythmic. Only after a dozen careful readings do you uncover the secret, so obvious that you start laughing from the tension. Behind the mask of suffering and pleas for help was hidden another message, hammered in as acrostic in the first letters of each line. Help! We are planning an escape in the coming days. The very fact that you uncovered this makes you feel proud, but deep down, anxiety grows. Does that mean your teacher Alexei knew about Olga's plans when he passed the letter to Mom? What role does he play in this situation? Or is it just a kind gesture? Questions swirl in your head as you walk to the living room for dinner. You need to discuss all of this with your parents. You're late. The small coffee, hand the letter to Mom and wait for her reaction. Mom opens it and her face turns white with surprise. She reads the first sentence, abruptly falls silent, and looks at you questioningly, but you wave it off. It's important that she continues reading. Her voice, trembling with tension, fills the silence of the dining room as she voices all of the trials that have befallen Olga. Silence descends on the dining room. Mom looks with hope. I beg you, please, you said that I would never see her again, but by the will of fate, she is here, so close. Please, let's help her. Ilya, remember that she is our daughter. We can't just disown her. No, Maria, we have settled in Simbersk. We have just started to be respected again, and here you suggest going to meet convicts, so that people would whisper about us behind our backs again? And for whom? For this fool who ruined our whole life? My career? Her brother's prospects? No way. Never. Only after my death. But she is our... Never seen him in such a rage. Stop telling me that she is our daughter! I know. I remember. I held her in my arms, read fairy tales with her, and went for walks. She's a criminal, Marusia. A vile traitor. A snake. I don't want to hear anything more. Enough. One more word and I won't be responsible for myself. Let us appear from who knows where. This vile story surfaces again. According to wartime laws, traitors and deserters are shot on the spot. Be grateful, dear, that she wasn't at war. Limping, leaves the table, stands by the window, and presses his hands to his temple. The situation hangs in the air, on the verge of explosion. Something needs to be done. Cavalrymen. I don't remember ever having that event, so I guess we can't do that one. Oh, if we had trained with a horse or something, I bet. Parents must learn about Olga's true message and plans. Stand on your mother, stand on your father. Oh, we're not... You can't renounce Olga. Oh, we lose a fatigue. You know, for being just a demo, I'm actually really caught up here. We lose 5 perseverance. Honestly, if we could, I would definitely do this. So we'll have to remember this for the future. Alright, let's warn about the escape. Olga will dislike us for it, but... Parents are growing apart, and again, Olga's to blame. Your sister is not asking for these foods and medicine to make her life in prison easier. She's planning an escape. Your parents don't know this, but now that you've solved the mystery of her letter, they need to be told about it. Oh, okay. I thought it was going to be a good thing, you know. Maybe they'd do something about it. I didn't know we were just snitching. But before she can answer, you snatch the letter and rush to your father. Before he turns away, you thrust the message and point to the acrostic. Ask the question in which he puts all of his disappointment. So where did you get this letter? Who did Olga warn about her escape? Clearly not you and not Mother. There must be someone else. Who is it? You're sure the letter is addressed to Alexei, but if Father finds out about his connection with Olga, he will hurt him, or even kill him. This means that the family will have new problems. You answer that you found the letter on the porch during the day, not knowing who left it. None of us will help Olga in her escape. No meetings, no food, nothing. No more mentions of Olga in this house. Never. Oh boy. The next day, breakfast goes calmly. Mom shares her plans. Alexei needs to leave. She will take over his work at the school. And a week later, it becomes known that 10 convicts escaped. Among them was Olga. Almost all of them died. Some from frostbite, some from disease or from wounds. Her body was never found. There's a chance she survived, but this chance is extremely small. One of the convoy guards claims he hit her in the face with a saber. Hearing this, father quietly throws. His daughter died 5 years ago. Every time you pass by her room, you hear her quiet crying. Damn. And it looks like she escaped, so that's probably something for the future, but... Man, I'll have to keep an eye out for that cavalryman one. I'd like to actually help with the escape. The snow melts, spring comes to Simbursk. Mom and Alexei prepare you for the gymnasium. You solve the most interesting problems together with Sophia. It seemed everything was going well, but not today. Lunch is approaching. You and your mother are at the table, checking penmanship. Father bursts in the dining room, his face distorted with anger. Fear arises that he will kill Mom now. So ominous. His eyes burn. Do you know who Alexei is? Do you know? Don't you guess who exactly your friend is? Or during your intimate meetings, he didn't tell you? What are you talking about, Ilya? What's come over you? Oh, shit. Broke a vase. What's coming over me? Your dear teacher was in that circle, darling. In that very circle, among those very students who were planning to kill the Emperor. That's who Olga asked for help. But that's not the main thing. Oh, no. Far from the main thing. I know that through him you communicated with Olga. You knew who he was, and you continued to communicate with him. It's all you. It's all your fault. My only fault is that I had refused to act on your order and continued to communicate with our daughter. I tried to be a good mother after you decided to erase our girl from your life. And you have no right to accuse me of communicating with our daughter, and especially your assumptions about me and Alexei. It's low and vile to assume such things. Not expecting such resistance, father takes a step back, but his gaze still bodes no good. I will put an end to the lies of this vile slug who dared to fool good people. And when you and I will talk about him and about our marriage. Father leaves. From the corridor you can hear the clerk's voice. He promises to prepare weapons and a carriage. Breathing heavily, Mom brushes aside a strand of hair and looks at you with a steely gaze. You haven't noticed such firmness in her before. It seems that endless arguments have only tempered her character. After the letter from Olga, you suspected Alexei's connection with the Narodanya Volya, but for him to be in the core of that very society of conspirators. It's hard to believe. Is there any way to find out more? Should you talk to Mom? Or to Father? What to do? Questions tear you apart. Oh, okay. No less than 30. Aren't we at 35? Oh, now it's 25. 35 is what we would have. Okay. Insist on the trip with the gendarmes. What do we get? Mutual understanding. Talk to father. Talk to mother. We have our diary. We're gonna have to do it. I guess in this playthrough, we're just a snitch. Alexei. You try to remember if this name was in Olga's diary, which you found that night. You remember about Sasha, whom she wrote about many times. But Alexei... You turn around sharply, run into your room, fling open the closets. Where is it? You finally find the diary. A says we must hurry. Any day now we might be caught, and we must do at least something. I don't quite understand this rush, but Sasha agrees with him. We need to make ourselves known as soon as possible. A is sure if we do this for the second time on March 3rd, we're in for a resounding success. You see the letter A everywhere, especially in those moments where your sister and her comrades make some decisions. He's everywhere. And all those decisions important, and not so much. Previously, you thought that A was Alexander Ulyanov, but now you understand how you were mistaken. After all, your sister never called him by his full name. A was always Alexei, your teacher. It was he who stood at the head of the Narodanya Volya. Conspiracy. It was he who inspired Olga and those students. At this realization, everything inside turns cold. So if it wasn't for him, maybe... No. You shake your head, dismissing thoughts about what's already happened. Now it's more important to do everything to make him answer. And you have proof. Mom has locked herself in, writing a letter. Father is cleaning weapons in his study. You knock loudly on her door, shouting about valuable evidence of Alexei's involvement. Without waiting for an answer, you run to Father. You burst in the study without knocking and hold out a worn notebook. There's a lot about Alexei, you say. It was he who delivered the letter from exile. It was he who was behind the assassination attempt. I'll kill that scoundrel, Maria. Don't even think about stopping me. You ask your parents to listen to you just once. You can't just kill another person, even if it seems they deserve it. The family will get nothing but problems. The law won't be on our side. Besides, Alexei is clearly not as simple as he seems. He's been fooling everyone for a long time. Who knows what else he has prepared? You don't want to risk your father, too. You suggest going and turning Alexei into the gendarmes. You have Olga's diary. This might be enough for an accusation. Your parents look at each other, then at you. Your father agrees. You get ready. Get into the carriage. Your parents avoid each other's eyes, but at some point your father suddenly puts his hand on your mother's fingers. She squeezes his palm and smiles briefly. At the gendarmeric building, you officially report about a People's Will member living incognito in Simbersk. You head home. You learn that Alexei escaped, wounding 2 gendarmes during the arrest. Some evidence was found in his apartment, and now they're looking for him as a spy, too. As for you, you and your father have been meeting your mother at school these 2 days and taking long walks together. Oh, well, that's nice. I lost a diary, but... Alexei has been searched for 2 weeks. You're reading a book, Mom's saying nothing unusual. Suddenly a furious cry of pain shakes the house. It's Father's voice. Father's on the floor, clutching his head with his hands. His face is purple, veins bulging as if ready to burst. Blood flows from his nose. Garon. Mom falls to her knees in front of Father, shouts for you to call the clerk to run for a doctor. Pale as a sheet, she presses a wet handkerchief to his forehead with trembling hands. One corner of his lip moves up, the other down. Marussia. After which he goes limp, lifelessly. Mom touches his shoulders, shakes desperately, calls again and again, breaking into tears. Father breathes hoarsely. Blood crusts under his nose, temples pulsing. Unable to watch, you run to Mom, bury your face in her, inhaling her familiar scent. After that, everything blurs. You don't remember when the doctor came, or how Father was carried upstairs. It's all events of this evening are erased by the doctor's terrible cold verdict. Apoplectic stroke. The doctor lists he needs rest until he comes to his senses. Then it will be necessary to talk to him, read to him, and walk. Father may never come to his senses again, but most likely he will remain disabled, even if he recovers. Doctor recommends taking him to the healing waters in the Caucasus if there is positive dynamics. Mom stoically accepts everything, gripping the hem of her dress so tightly. You stand nearby thinking that it seems your childhood has ended. End of the first act. So this concludes the demo. You have successfully completed the first act. This concludes the demo. To find out what happens next, add the game Decadent to your wishlist. As the game is still in development, we would appreciate your feedback and reviews, as this will help us improve the game. Well, if anyone who works on this watches my channel, which, let's be honest, they don't, but if anyone ever does see this, I think the game is actually really interesting. I like the choices here. I don't know how well it will be if we chose like different options in the beginning. Like, maybe the cavalryman was like one of the beginner options. Like, we chose Nostradamus to figure out the things like that. But I'm liking the story so far. I like how our choices do actually have consequences. And overall, I'm honestly kind of liking it. Yeah, obviously we could have chosen different things. That's how we did, but for this showcase demo, I just, went with my gut. Wunderkind. So I'm curious on what other things here. Abilities, hypnosis. Intuition skill. We didn't even get that. Inspiration skill. Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of things. Valor skill. Yeah. So we'll have abilities, leading skill for the general class, propagandist, valor. See, we have charm, which is different from charisma, based on the results of leveling up the combination of empathy and charisma. I see. So I bet, based on the results of leveling up the combination of empathy and dexterity. Okay, so if you wanted to, like, min-max, as it were, you could do combinations. So, charm, what was it? Empathy and charisma. So it's like a combination of 20 and 30. So I don't know what that would actually turn into, but alright. And then actual abilities. Clairvoyant Forecaster, Mind Reader, Heroic Commander, Lionheart. I'm just taking a look at all this. Invisible Adventurer class is always pretty cool. Yeah. Choose Fig, Trickster, Smile. And then if we go back to here, Saving a Dog, Secret Message, A Terrible Escape. So there's going to be 5 acts. So we've only done Act 1. Haven't even met Cousin Andrew. We have, we're pretty well known through our choices here. Okay. Everything all about that. Extraordinary talented, has an analytical mind, and is eager to get an education. Alexander, antagonism. So yeah, events. I don't remember seeing like the cavalryman one, but I'm sure we must have seen that at some point for options. But yeah. So there we go. There was Decadent. I hope you guys enjoyed this showcase. If you guys are interested, add it right on to your Steam wishlist. Like I said, it should be out in Q4 of this year. So what? I don't know when the quarters are. I'm assuming August. No, August. No, September, right? Be the last like 3 months. Because I'm assuming, I don't know how the video game industry like that does it, but yeah. So I'm assuming September to December at some point. Maybe earlier, maybe later, who knows. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this. Leave any comments and other suggestions for games that might be interesting for a showcase or a future series. I know someone mentioned that this was similar to the life and suffering of Sir Bronte, which has been on my radar for a while, so I might check that out. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you like, leave a dislike if you dislike, but tell me why, and I shall see you all later.